Hi, my name is Kayla, and today we are going to be making pinwheel crafts. And I love this craft because it is so simple and cheap. It takes very little effort up front or time or money for you to prepare it. And it's something that is very easy to modify depending on your residents' or clients' different abilities and interests. And you can even get creative with a lot of different ways to do this. So I'll try to go over as many options as I can think of, and I'm sure there's more that you can think of as well. This is a great time of year to be making pinwheels because they're so versatile as far as decorations and things that you can use them for. If you want to do it as just a simple craft, then that's great too. You can also have your residents or clients help you with making some nice DIY decorations for your activities bulletin board, for your 4th of July picnic, for your summer barbecue, maybe some garden decorations. They can decorate their own rooms or their own doors, whatever you want. It's really nice to have residents and clients contribute some of the decorations, especially if their family is coming by, or just to have some kind of ownership over the party and the festivities. So it's a great time of year to get started on these pinwheel crafts. And thankfully, there are not very many supplies that you need. Just at a bare minimum, all you need is a pair of scissors and your paper of choice. This could just be regular printer paper. It could be construction paper like what I have today. If you want something a little bit more sturdy, especially for like a garden decoration or something that might get a little wear and tear on it, you might want to use something thicker like cardstock. You could also use origami paper as like a fun creative option. It's really nice because it's already cut into a square for you. And they have really fun designs and everything. If you have some leftover origami paper from an origami activity or something like that, you can always even go further and decorate them a little bit more with some colored pencils and markers and sequins and stickers and googly eyes or whatever you want to add onto your pinwheel craft. And then the last thing that you need is these little, let's see if I can get it so that you can see it up close. I don't know how well you can see that. It's really small. The first time I did this activity, I needed to ask myself, what are these things even called in order to buy them? If you already have them in your office, then great. If you still need to buy them, you can find them listed as either brass or metal paper fasteners is what some companies will call them. They might also be called brads, B-R-A-D-S. You could probably find them at just about any office supply or craft supply store. There'll be a link in the description box where you can find them on Amazon. And just make sure if you are using a stick option for your pinwheels that you make them long enough, because these little strings, some of them are very, very short and some of them are very long depending on the size that you buy. So just make sure you're factoring that into your ordering before you buy them. And then, like I just mentioned, if you want to have an optional stick or holder for your pinwheels, I just have a pen at the moment, but my advice and suggestion, if you want something a little more aesthetic that looks a little prettier, you might want to buy just those standard yellow wooden pencils. And my advice is to also just leave them unsharpened, at least for right now, because you don't want anybody to get accidentally poked. If they want to use it as a fun writing implement or utensil later, if they want to sharpen it themselves, if that's something for them to take home or to their rooms to use, then by all means that's up to them. But just for everybody's safety, it's a good idea to leave them unsharpened or the pens capped as long as you're doing the craft. The setup is quite easy. It may take just a few minutes of prep, depending on how much you want to modify this activity for your residents or clients, depending on their capabilities and their interests. So if you just want a very easy version, there are bunches of websites out there that have free printables For pinwheels, they might even come with like a pattern or something like that. There'll be another link in the description box where you can find a few printable pattern options. You can also just make your own, like what I did this morning. All you really need is a piece of paper cut into a fairly even square, although these are quite forgiving, so if you really don't have to be exact. If you want to get out a ruler and measure it, you can do that as well. And then you'll need one dot or one spot to puncture the paper fastener in the center, and then 4 equal length slits. On the printable pattern, they'll just give you a line to cut down. If your residents are interested or able in cutting those lines, and that's great for them to do. If you want to kind of pre-cut yours, like how mine has been sort of pre-cut, it'll make it faster and easier for some of your residents as well. And for some people, especially if it's a little bit of a safety consideration, you might want to also pre-puncture your paper. So if you want to put a hole in the center and one on each corner, I'll show you exactly where to do that in a minute. And that way they're not accidentally poking fingers or ripping paper by trying to puncture them. You can either just use some scissors and cut a little slit, or use one of the paper fasteners to puncture a hole, or if you have one of those little hole puncher things, you can do that too. There's lots of options. So now I'll go through just a simple version of how to make this pinwheel, and then we'll go over a few variations that you can use as well. So first you want to take your paper fastener or your brad, and for each of these corners, it's really important to make sure that you're using the same side. So like, for example, in this corner, you have a left side and a right side. So as you go, like I've pre-poked little holes into my left side. So as I go, I'm gonna have a hole on this left side, a hole on this left side, and continuing on each of the left sides. So then to start, you're gonna take one corner, and I'll take one left side and bring the corner towards your center hole like this, so you get the right side, and then just thread your paper fastener through. Only through the corner though, not through the middle. I'm just bringing it to the middle so that you get the correct shape that it's supposed to be in, but it should still be unattached to the middle. And then we're gonna rotate, just holding onto that side to my next left side of the corner, and bend this one towards the middle and thread the paper fastener through that hole. So it should look like this. And if you ever have a doubt, you can always even puncture it through a little bit just to make sure that it looks okay so far. You should have one side curling over, and then one corner, and then the next side curling over, and then one corner sticking out. Then we're gonna go to our third corner and do the exact same thing. So I'm gonna take my left side, bring it towards the middle. Hopefully you can see that angle okay. And puncture it through. So if we're holding it up, it should look like this. And then we have one last corner over there. There. One last corner to work with. So I'm going to pull it back out. And bring my last left side towards the center. Push the paper fastener through the hole. And then now that I've got all 4 left sides of the corner, I'm gonna poke this paper fastener through. So it should look like that. And then on the back side, hopefully this is visible, I'm just gonna spread these 2 ends are two strings. Hope this is visible. And separate them like that. If you are just putting these up on the wall, you can leave the fastener open like that. If you're going to, I'll show you on this one. If you're going to be sticking it through a pen or something, it will end up getting looped around into a little loop around the pen or pencil or whatever you're choosing to use. And then it helps a little bit if you want to kind of like flatten the curls down just a little bit, just so they're not sticking out quite so much. You can kind of just freshen it up. And that's your pinwheel. And if you want to get creative, like I said, you can stick sequins and stickers and all kinds of things. If you want to even do like what I've done with a little double layer pinwheel, that's helpful with these little extra pieces of paper. You're going to have little strips that are left over after you cut your square, so you can always just cut another little square off. These ones you may not be able to find an exact printable version of it, so you might have to just eyeball it. But like I said, they're very forgiving. It's you can't really tell that I've made mistakes on these ones. And there you have it. You have your pinwheel craft.